When Corey Haim opened up about his disturbing experiences as a child star, many speculated that he was referring to Charlie Sheen. However, the revelations that followed Haim's death unveiled a much darker reality than anyone had expected. Before we delve deeper into that unsettling truth, let's take a look at the chaotic life of Charlie Sheen. Who could forget the infamous meltdown of 2011? It was the year he lost the highest-paying gig on television, all while boasting about having tiger blood and Adonis DNA. But the downward spiral of Charlie Sheen began long ago. Charlie Sheen was born Carlos Erwin Estevez in New York City as the youngest son of actor Ramon Estevez and Janet Templeton. Ramon later adopted the stage name Martin Sheen to further his acting career, a move his youngest son would mirror in time. While his brother Emilio chose to stick with the family name, young Carlos stepped into the limelight at just 9 years old, appearing in his father's film, The Execution of Private Slovik. Little did he know, that role marked the beginning of a troubling journey. As Martin Sheen's career flourished, the family relocated from New York to California, where Charlie attended Santa Monica High School. It was there that he befriended a host of notable names, including Robert Downey Jr., Rob Lowe, and Sean Penn. This is not necessarily a healthy influence on a teenager. Despite his talent on the baseball field, Sheen struggled academically and ultimately got expelled just weeks shy of graduation due to poor grades and frequent absences. While he may not have left with a diploma, Sheen did leave high school with a complicated romantic history. He began dating Paula Prophet during his time there, and they had a daughter together, Cassandra Estevez. However, the relationship was short-lived, possibly because Prophet recognized the troubling path Sheen was embarking on. Carlos Estevez's acting career didn't exactly launch with a bang. After leaving school, he embraced his new identity as Charlie Sheen and started hunting for acting roles. His first significant part came in Grizzly 2: The Predator, a sequel to a lesser-known horror film. Unfortunately, things took a disastrous turn on set. Just a day into filming, the lead producer, Joseph Ford Proctor, mysteriously disappeared, leaving the production in chaos. It turned out Proctor had ended up behind bars. Though the remaining producer managed to gather the resources needed to finish the film, the situation had already left its mark. Many actors kick off their careers with low-budget B-movies, but typically those films at least see the light of day. Unfortunately, due to various issues surrounding Proctor, Grizzly 2 never made it to release. It's like what a baseball player such as Charlie Sheen might call a swing and a miss. At least Sheen wasn't alone in this flop. Both George Clooney and Laura Dern also had parts in Grizzly 2, though you wouldn't know it since hardly anyone got to see them. But Sheen wasn't about to let this setback deter him. He was determined, and he had a bit of an advantage as a nepotism baby. He wasn't one to accept defeat easily. Sheen's big break came swiftly. In 1984, he starred in the teen drama Red Dawn, and shortly after, he landed a role in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Both films not only hit theaters, but also became massive successes. By 1986, Sheen landed a role that would catapult him to stardom. In just 3 years, he went from appearing in an unreleased movie to starring in the Oscar-winning film Platoon, directed by Oliver Stone. The following year, he collaborated with Stone again on Wall Street, sharing the screen with his father. At this point, Charlie Sheen had officially become a movie star, all thanks to Oliver Stone. So, what happened that kept them from working together for nearly 25 years? As is often the case with Charlie Sheen, drama ensued. Stone's next project, Born on the 4th of July, didn't feature Sheen, even though there were rumors that Stone wanted him for the lead. Somewhere along the line, the communication broke down, and Tom Cruise ended up with the role instead. Sheen only found out about this when his brother Emilio filled him in. You might think it was just a simple mix-up, but with Sheen, things tend to get complicated. He was furious. After Stone offered him a leading role in a different project and the fallout from that misunderstanding, Sheen vowed never to work with Stone again. though he did make a cameo in the 2010 sequel to Wall Street. While cutting ties with the director who had helped him rise to fame might seem unwise, it didn't hinder Sheen's career. He remained a sought-after star throughout the 1990s, even as his personal life began to spiral into scandal. In the late 80s, Sheen began dating Kelly Preston and soon proposed. However, in a shocking incident, he accidentally shot her in the arm. It's hard to think of a better reason to end an engagement than when my fiancé shot me. Unsurprisingly, Preston called off the engagement shortly after the incident, a decision that turned out to be incredibly wise. With his relationship status back on the market, Sheen's next romantic entanglements would prove to be even more scandalous than his time with Preston. In the 90s, Charlie Sheen was a major Hollywood heartthrob, and he had his pick of partners, often gravitating towards adult film actresses. After his split from Preston, he dated several stars, including Ginger Lynn and Heather Hunter, but none managed to convince him to settle down. However, in 1995, during a work engagement, Sheen crossed paths with rising model Donna Peel and quickly proposed. They tied the knot just 6 weeks after they met. That same year, the media buzzed with stories about Heidi Fleiss and her notorious prostitution ring, which allegedly included Sheen among its high-profile clients. It didn't take long for his indiscretions to surface, leading to their separation within less than a year. On May 20, 1998, a friend discovered Sheen had suffered a stroke at his home. Paramedics rushed him to the hospital, where doctors pumped his stomach, confirming what many suspected: Sheen had overdosed. This incident could have been his turning point, but it wasn't. After his hospital stay, he checked into rehab, but he made it clear to the staff that he had no intention of staying long. True to his word, he left shortly after, only to be compelled back by local authorities. At that time, he was already on probation for a previous drug charge. Eventually, he completed rehab and finished his probation just as his career began to rebound. Up until that point, Sheen had primarily starred in films, but it was time for a new chapter on television. He took over Michael J. Fox's role on Spin City, and audiences embraced him. His performance earned him his first Golden Globe, even though he only participated in the show's last 2 seasons. Spin City marked a revival in his career following his health crisis and rehab experience, and things seemed to be looking up for him, including in his personal life. In 2000, Sheen met actress Denise Richards, and for once he decided to take things slow. Their paths crossed again when Richards guest starred on Spin City the following year. By October 2001, they were officially dating, and true to form, Sheen proposed by December 26. They married on June 15, 2002, and for a moment it appeared that Sheen was finally ready to settle down. The early 2000s felt like a golden era for him. He won a Golden Globe, married Richards, and welcomed 2 beautiful daughters. Though Spin City wrapped up in 2002, producer Chuck Lorre was on the lookout for a star for his new sitcom. He saw potential in Sheen's bad boy persona and cast him in 2.5 Men. The show achieved tremendous success, but behind the scenes it took a toll on Sheen, who struggled to maintain control over his life despite his newfound fame. In March 2005, just shy of 3 years of marriage, Denise Richards made the tough decision to file for divorce from Charlie Sheen. While she pointed to his struggles with alcohol and drugs as key reasons for the split, her filing also included some shocking allegations. Although Sheen's interest in adult films wasn't exactly a secret, Richards claimed that his tastes extended to gay films featuring boys who appeared underage, and that he had an unsettling attraction to underage girls. Given the alarming details in her court documents, it's surprising that their marriage lasted as long as it did. While Sheen was embroiled in yet another scandal, he was also raking in a fortune. His show, 2.5 Men, turned out to be a colossal success, and by the end of his tenure, he was earning an astonishing $1.8 million per episode, making him the highest-paid actor on television. But let's not forget about his history of overdoses, strokes, and rehab stints. Despite all that, he never truly got clean and now had more money than ever. How do you think that turned out for him? Although many wouldn't peg Charlie Sheen as the type to settle down, he did make another attempt at marriage in 2008 with Brooke Mueller. They welcomed twin sons, but if she believed she could change him, she was in for a rude awakening. It wasn't long before Sheen stepped over the line again. The couple spent Christmas 2009 in Aspen, and while Sheen was the highest-paid man on TV, their holiday quickly turned into a nightmare. By the end of the day, authorities arrested him for assaulting his wife, leading to a sentence that included rehab, probation, and anger management. This incident marked a turning point for Sheen. In October 2010, he checked into the luxurious Plaza Hotel in New York City, where his ex-wife Denise Richards and their 2 daughters were also staying. Although he was in a separate room, his current wife, Brooke Mueller, was absent. If you thought Sheen would behave just because his family was nearby, you clearly underestimated him. In the early hours, a woman from Sheen's room called the front desk. When security arrived, they found him in a drug-fueled frenzy, wreaking havoc in his room. He had reportedly lost his phone and wallet after a wild night out. And the woman who called for help? She wasn't exactly there for a friendly chat. Reports indicated that security discovered her unclothed and trapped in a closet, terrified for her safety. As if that weren't enough, Sheen caused a staggering $77,000 in damages to his hotel room, all just 2 months after leaving rehab. After everything calmed down, Richards took Sheen to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in New York. Reports suggest that Sheen only agreed to go because he faced either a hospital visit or handcuffs. This incident marked the beginning of Sheen's downward spiral, even though his team claimed he checked in due to an allergic reaction to medication. Soon, news of Sheen's explosive behavior spread. Perhaps he was searching for someone to blame for his troubles, as just weeks after the Plaza incident, he filed for divorce. Although Brooke Mueller had stood by him after he assaulted her, it was Sheen who initiated the divorce. The split quickly turned ugly. A few months later, Mueller obtained a restraining order against him, expressing her deep concern for Sheen's mental state. Authorities intervened and removed their twin sons from his care. Sheen's addiction was wreaking havoc on his life, and it was on the verge of destroying his career as well. At the time of the Plaza incident, 2.5 Men was still airing. However, in January 2011, the show went on hiatus to allow Sheen to enter rehab. This time, he opted for rehab at home, marking his 3rd attempt to get clean within a year. His family tried to support him, but Sheen showed little interest in help. As his behavior spiraled, his father, Martin Sheen, faced a barrage of questions about him. Martin described addiction as a disease akin to cancer and sought to offer his son love and support, but Charlie dismissed this, insisting he had cured himself with sheer willpower. If he truly believed he was cured, his actions didn't reflect it. CBS still planned for Sheen to return to 2.5 Men, one of television's biggest hits. Despite his erratic behavior, they wanted to keep their star. However, everything changed when Sheen called into Alex Jones's radio show for another bizarre interview. This time, he crossed a line that made it clear he was far from stable. His rambling comments, especially about Chuck Lorre, the show's creator, proved to be a grave mistake. Lorre believed Sheen needed help, while Sheen insulted him, calling him a clown and using an anti-Semitic slur, claiming he was sorry for embarrassing Lorre in front of his children. In an instant, Charlie Sheen lost his prime television role. Following the interview, CBS canceled the rest of the season and banned him from the lot. In a misguided attempt to negotiate, Sheen demanded a 50% raise, arguing he was underpaid. Chuck Lorre wasn't joking around. He fired Sheen and killed off his character on the show. This marked the beginning of the infamous Charlie Sheen meltdown. Who could forget his outrageous claims of being a warlock with tiger blood and Adonis DNA? Who doesn't remember him declaring he was winning? While we all chuckled at the antics of the outrageous movie star, the reality behind the scenes was undeniably tragic. At the time he was let go from 2.5 Men, Charlie Sheen was living with two much younger women, adult actress Brie Olson and model Natalie Kenley, both just 24 years old. This was also when authorities stepped in and took his sons away from him. He referred to Olson and Kenley as his goddesses, but even they couldn't tolerate his behavior any longer. They both left him within months of his dismissal. For most people, this would be rock bottom, but for Sheen, it seemed to be his everyday existence. In 2014, he proposed to his latest girlfriend, adult actress Brett Rossi. They had plans for a fall wedding, but just a month before the ceremony, they called it off. Sheen stated that he felt his children deserved his attention more than a romantic relationship at that time, expressing a fondness for Rossi and wishing her well. It sounded quite mature, but as usual, there was more beneath the surface. Just around the time they were set to marry, Rossi ended up hospitalized due to an overdose. Shortly after, she took Sheen to court, alleging assault, emotional distress, false imprisonment, and negligence. It was a grim situation, but sadly, not surprising for anyone familiar with his tumultuous life. Sheen's troubles didn't stop there. They took a shocking turn in 2015 when he revealed that he was HIV positive, having been diagnosed 4 years earlier. He claimed to be managing the condition with antiviral medication, insisting it was impossible for him to have transmitted the virus to any partners. However, Rossi contested this, accusing him of concealing his diagnosis during their relationship. In April 2016, the LAPD's stalking unit began investigating Sheen after he allegedly threatened to kill Rossi. As we see, for Charlie Sheen, there seems to be no bottom, it's all downhill. In recent years, Sheen has managed to stay out of the public eye. Could it be that he's finally finding some stability? We can only hope, but we can't ignore the troubling allegations surrounding his past, particularly concerning Corey Haim in the 80s. When Sheen was still carving out his career, he starred in a film alongside young actor Corey Haim. Following Haim's tragic death in 2010, disturbing stories surfaced about his experiences as a young actor. The National Enquirer published claims that Sheen had assaulted Haim in 1986, when Haim was just 13. Sheen responded by suing the publication for libel, but the allegations persisted. Corey Feldman, another child star from that era who faced his own share of abuse, has maintained that Sheen was indeed responsible for the assault. However, Haim's mother has argued that it couldn't have happened without her knowledge. Unfortunately, with Haim no longer here to share his side, the truth may remain elusive, casting a dark shadow over Sheen's already troubled legacy. Ultimately, Charlie Sheen's legacy is a complicated tapestry woven with extraordinary talent and unforgettable performances, yet marred by scandal, addiction, and controversy. From his meteoric rise in Hollywood to his dramatic fall from grace, Sheen serves as a cautionary tale about the costs of fame, unchecked excess, and the darker aspects of celebrity life. While he seems to have stepped back from the limelight in recent years, the ghosts of his past continue to linger. Whether he has truly found peace or is still a ticking time bomb remains uncertain. But one fact is clear: Charlie Sheen's story is far from finished. If you found this exploration of Charlie Sheen's life intriguing, don't forget to like and subscribe for more captivating content.